This is level 3 of low back strengthening. Do not complete this activity unless you've mastered the first 2. If anything in this hurts, either try to regress within or go back to the first one. So we're going to make this a little bit harder of a position. We're going to get in what's called quadruped. That is all 4s, okay? So we are going to start in this position. This video is going to be a little more fun than the other ones, now that we're able to build on things. We're going to start with those TA lifts, transverse abdominis. So what we're going to do is now, instead of doing it on our stomach, we're doing it on our back. We are not going to let our back move at all. We are going to let our guts sink towards the mat. Do not let your back move. And then lift your guts back up, away from the mat. Guts sink towards the mat. Guts lift up towards the mat. Sink towards the mat. Lift up, away from the mat. Sink towards the mat. Lift up, away from the mat. 2 more. Okay. You should feel fairly confident with that. If you do not, pause the video and work on them so you can get that, okay? No back movement. Now we're going to add some fun stuff. This is where it's going to get challenging. We're going to start with letting our gut sink, picking it back up, neutral spine. Allow one arm to slide forward on the mat and lift up without moving your back or tilting your body. The only thing moving is the arm. Don't lose your core. Okay? We're going to do 5 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So whenever I was doing those, I was not allowing my back to arch when I lifted my arm or open my chest whenever I lifted the arm, okay? Double check you're doing this right. You should be feeling working your core during this. We're gonna do the other arm. Lift your core, back is straight, slide out and up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. That should feel like you accomplished something. There should be work in your core, and it should have been hard to stabilize and not let your back move all over the place. Now we're going to do that with our legs. You're going to keep your core engaged. You're going to slide one leg back just till it's straight, toes still on the ground, and slide it back. Okay? No movement in the back. 2, keep that core nice and lifted, back straight. 3, 4, 5. And the other leg. Core stays lifted. 1, try not to let your back move. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good job. We're going to slide in. We're going to give your hands a break for a second. That should have felt like good work. Should have felt your core working. Should have felt challenging to move the arms or the legs without letting your back move. Okay. Now, we are going to work on some low back mobility while keeping your core engaged. We're going to come back into quadruped. Okay? You are going to keep your core lifted. And now what I want you to do is practice rocking your hips back and up towards a plank. Keep that core engaged. Slowly. Hips back, whatever range you can without pain. Keep the core engaged. And up towards a plank, not to plank. Good. Keep that core engaged. Here's 3. This is number 4. And that was number 5. Okay. We should be feeling good about that. That is working on the concept of what we call closing the hips, because the hips getting closer to the chest, and working towards opening the hips all the way into extension. A lot of times when the hips and the back don't work well together, you get back pain. So working on that. And that is a very similar movement towards standing up. All right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to work on pelvic tilting in this position. You should have worked on it a lot in the previous video. So now I'm not going to let my upper back move at all. Only my pelvis is going to tilt down and then up, like my tail is wigging up towards the ceiling. Tilt it down and up, 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 up. Wag that tail towards the ceiling and down. That's 2. This is 3. 4. And 5. All right, we're gonna get our neutral pelvis. Now we're gonna make it harder. We're gonna go into all back mobility. So what I want you to do is start with rounding your pelvis, doing that posterior tilt down, and then let your back arch, get nice and round. And then let your pelvis go into that anterior tilt like you're wagging your tail, and arch your back, look up at the ceiling as arched as you can in a pain-free range. Then we're going to slowly move, pelvis included, to neutral and then into rounding. Pain-free range. I don't expect you to be able to do the full range yet, but I do want you working towards it because it's good for your back to move. The popular saying in therapy is, motion is lotion. The more you move, the better you feel. Last one each way. Arch, 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 arch. And round, 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 round. Come back to neutral. And have a seat. Good job. You just completed lesson 3. That should feel like a good amount of work in your core. If you want, you can go back and repeat all of those exercises, and every time I finish one exercise, you can pause and do another set. It's up to you. This is where you start to have autonomy in your practice and in your movement. If you're feeling great with one exercise, do that exercise. Do it for 3 sets of 10. 3 sets of 15, building up your strength.